Your Excellency, Minister of Education and Culture, dear colleagues, distinguished guests, we're here on a project on education reform, but I think reform is a constant process in universities. Why is reform a constant process in universities? Because universities, by their very nature, are agents of change for their society. Through the research that goes on in a university environment, we generate new knowledge that in turn creates new modes of production, new forms of social organization, develops a new sense of values. Our students are trained to be critical thinkers. Therefore, the students are trained to be agents for change and reform for the society. So the very nature of the university is to be an agent for change, and therefore the university itself is in a constant state of reform. On the other hand, universities tend to be very conservative institutions. We are conservative institutions because at every point in time, if we forget a little bit our history and our future, we do very well. So we have no reason to change. We do very well because we educate the current generation of students at some high-quality education, we do some good research, and therefore, as we do well, we do not feel the need to change. Our researchers, while being very successful in planting a new tree of knowledge in their specific field, sometimes they, or we, lose sight of the forest. There is over-specialization in research. As a result of this conservative nature of the university, reforms quite often are imposed exogenously. We had a UNICA 20th year anniversary in the University of Vienna a few weeks ago, and the rector of University of Vienna was telling us the story that University of Vienna became a research university by royal decree. It was the Empress Maria Theresa that decided that universities should engage in research, and she had to push the professors at the time to engage in the research through a royal decree. So reform came exogenously. Universities are also conservative institutions because we have a social role to play in preserving our society's sense of values. The notion of a national university precisely caters to the needs of society to preserve social values. So as a result, we have a tension. We have the tension how to balance the need for reform and the need for conservation and preservation. And we have to manage this tension both for ourselves and for our society. Now, how do we achieve this? Plato, in his work on Socrates' Apology, before he was forced by the Athenian early democracy to drink the poison, Socrates refers to himself as the gadfly of society. And he has a beautiful quote. He says, if you kill me, you are not going to find anybody else as valuable as me, referring to himself. He says, God sent Socrates to the Athenian society for the same reason that God sends a gadfly to a horse. Why? Because he says, Athenian society is like a big, beautiful, and thoroughbred horse that because of its sheer size, it's a little bit lazy and inert. And the God sends the gadfly to stink it and stir it into action. So the question is, who the universities are the gadflies of society, who are there to challenge our society, to stink it now and then, and to stir it into action. The question is, who are the gadflies of the universities? who is steering the universities into action. The networks. I believe the networks of universities getting together are playing the role of the gadfly. When we get together with our colleagues, we tend to be more ambitious, more extrovert, more outgoing. And then we forget how well we are doing, and we forget our inertia, and we tend to have large visions. But once we articulate the large visions about reform and about change and about the future, then we have to act on it. So I think networks and the projects like the one you are now engaged are playing an important role in challenging the universities for change when they need to change, to overcome the inertia. To say a few words about UNICA, for those of you who are not members of UNICA, or those of you who are members of UNICA but do not necessarily participate in all the events. UNICA is a network of 42 universities from 30 countries that aspires to add value to what universities do by bringing colleagues together at multiple levels, the grassroots level, international relation officers, research officers, librarians, Bologna experts, or at the leadership level, the rectors, the vice rectors, principals, in order to exchange best practices on the axis of internationalization and mobility, on education, on research and development, on policy and strategy, and links with society. And what the network has discovered, that our members have discovered over the last 20 years, is that every time we get together, we challenge ourselves. We always hear a university that's doing something much better than the rest of us, they are much more innovative than the rest of us, and therefore we feel like following. Mind you, it's never the same university that's doing something a little bit better than the rest of us. It's always changing. It's like a relay. Someone is always taking the relay, the torch, and running up front. So the activities, some of the specific activities that we have over the last several years, we are offering 2 joint master's degrees on topics where the network felt we could do it much better as a group of universities than any single university on its own. One master's degree is on urban studies. Universities felt the students will be much better trained in urban studies if they have a chance to spend some time in Madrid, in Brussels, and in Vienna than in any single urban environment. That has been a very successful experiment. Now we're trying to replicate it with a UNICA Masters in European History, recognizing that our students will understand European history much better if they study it partly in Paris, partly in Berlin, and partly in Rome, than studying it only in Paris, only in Berlin, or only in Rome. We have working groups on university rankings, working group on the relationship between universities and the hospitals for the medical schools. We are establishing a UNICA observatory on administrative excellence. How do we make the best use of the limited resources? Our librarians are playing a leading role in the discussions on open access. We are a network member of the AUA Council on Doctoral Education, and of course projects often funded by the European Commission, like this one, are playing an important role in the UNICA activities, are playing an important role because they help the universities actually get together and engage in some joint activities. They also play an important role because they increase the visibility of the network at the Commission level. And it has been quite a few times where UNICA representatives have been asked to speak at Commission events, conveying the needs or the aspirations or the policies of UNICA universities. So with these few remarks, I would like to thank you for being here with us today. I would like to thank the Director of International Relations from our university, Gregory Magridis, who is spares no flying mile to get a project together. At some point I encourage, he's also a very hard-working person. He carries a bag full of papers at home every evening when I see him. So at some point I encouraged him, Gregory, please don't carry so many papers at home because everybody sees you with this bag and they think you are traveling again. But when he's traveling, I think we see value as a small university in international collaboration. So thank you very much, Gregory and Yolanda, for chairing today. And we will convey the message from Arthur Medinger that he had some emergency meeting in his university, so he could not be with us today. So he would like to send the greetings to all of you. His spirit is with us, and we will convey back to him that he has been missed, but I'm sure this will be very important. And I would like to welcome you all to University of Cyprus. I'm sure you will have a very successful and effective meeting. But as Yolanda pointed out, we still have beautiful weather here, so take some time off to smell the roses and the jasmine. So welcome to Cyprus. Thank you very much.